Welcome, everybody, to Kohl Outdoors. So how's everyone doing today? We have a special guest today. We have Gumpa. There's Honey Kohl Custom Rods. He's a great rod builder, and we're going to learn a lot about fishing rods today. So let me introduce you with him. Play his actual thing. 1 second. Play his video to introduce our guest. Let me do a nice screen share. Okay, so welcome everybody. Let's see what we got going on. Let's go welcome everyone in. Let's do a roll call and let's get the show on the road.
Good morning. We got 14 watching. Good morning, Bryant's Outdoor Adventures, Dirty Operations, Dude from the Neighborhood, JT's Crappie Cave, MD Outdoors, Mama T's Barbecue Sauce, Precision Angling, The Flying Jersey, Via Hook, Walker Fam. Thanks for joining us. We've got Aaron from Gumpa's Honey Hole Custom Rods this morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I want to thank him for coming on the show today. I mean, it's always an honor to have such knowledgeable people on the show, especially when we can learn a lot from each other.
Yep. Thanks for inviting me.
So tell us a little bit more about your background for the viewers.
That's a long story. We'll start with the short version. I grew up in a small town. I graduated school early, spent about a decade in the Army. Left the Army in 97. I've kind of bounced around since then doing different things. I finished up as a small engine mechanic, and I've been a bass fisherman explicitly for about 30 years. I started fishing when I was 5, 6 years old, maybe. Cane pole and a bobber, catching bluegill. But then I got into bass fishing, about 30 years ago, explicitly. And I used to paint my own cranks. I poured my own plastics and jigs, and it just kind of led me into building my own rods. I mean, it's almost like a natural extension.
Well, that is absolutely awesome, man. So I know from talking to you, you know a lot about fishing rods. So can you give us a basic rundown of the different types of rods you have, like the fast action, the actions, and the weights?
Yeah, well, if you're talking types of rods, there's three basic types of rods. Well, actually, two. Uh, there's fiberglass rods, which you don't see a lot of anymore. Some guys still like to use them, but they're heavy. They got a real slow action to them, real soft, full bend. And there's carbon fiber. And carbon fiber and graphite rods are the same thing because the only way you get graphite is to superheat carbon fiber. So when you're talking types of rods, there's two basically, fiberglass or carbon fiber. And you're starting to see some blends and composites. The crankbait rod you guys use for my intro here is a composite fiberglass graphite blend. You get some of the similar actions of a fiberglass rod with the weight of a graphite. So we'll see how it works out.
Oh, that sounds interesting. So does that take down? How's that do for sensitivity? How when you're fishing with that rod, is it very sensitive?
It's extremely sensitive, and that's the graphite.
Yeah.
The lighter graphite is much more sensitive than a lot of things, but the bends, when you're fishing a bait with a treble hook, a crank, a topwater, a jerk bait, anything that's got a treble hook, a fast action is probably your worst enemy.
Oh, why is that? Why would the fast action be your worst enemy with the treble hook?
Well, when bass roll on a treble hook, a lot of times they do. They just roll on it or flash at it. They don't necessarily suck it all the way in, especially a topwater. So a fast action, you react too quickly. That fast action pulls that bait away from just a little bit. Doesn't give them time to really get a hold of it.
So when would a fast action be a great time to use the bait?
A fast action rod, if you're talking fast actions, anything with a single hook on it, a jig, a spinner bait. I throw buzz baits in with treble hooks because of the nature of the way they're fished. Maybe with a frog if you're working slop, but things like that. Your Texas rig worms, your Carolina rigs, anything with a single hook on it, you probably want a fast action.
Okay, so what does when you're talking at actions, what does action actually do? Does it
all action describes in a rod is how fast that tip returns to neutral. So if you got a fast action rod, it only bends through about the first third. And then it transfers that energy to the rest of the blank. If it's a medium action or a moderate fast action, which you'll see it mostly, it bends through about the first half to 2/3 of the blank, and then it transfers to the rest of the blank as far as energy is concerned. You won't see a slow action much except on a fiberglass rod, and those bend all the way through the handle. Ugly sticks are basically fiberglass rods. That's why you can bend them in a circle.
Yeah. See, one thing which drives me crazy, I'll go on some of my tournaments around here. I'll see people fishing with a $200-300 fishing reel, and they're using like a $20 rod. They think that the reel is going to give them the casting distance. They don't understand that it's the actual rod that does the casting distance. Am I right?
You're correct. And it's the rod and how it's set up combined with the reel and the type of line you're using and the line test. 20-pound test line is not going to cast as far as 10-pound. That's just simple science.
Yeah, it weighs more.
Well, it weighs more. It's thicker, so you got more friction as it travels through the guides.
Yeah.
But yeah, rods and reels should be matched as best as possible, and a lot of that's personal preference. But yeah, a $300 reel, I don't care what company it's from, put on a $20 Walmart rod, you're just going to give yourself headaches all day long. The part of the problem with those production rods, even the expensive ones, is these big companies don't do what I do. They don't spine a rod. If you don't know what I'm talking about, later when we're done, there's a video on my YouTube page talking about spining a fishing rod. Every fishing rod it's a tapered fiberglass, or it's a tapered blank is what it is. It's a cylindrical blank that's tapered to a specific taper. Excuse me. And every one of those blanks has a spine, sometimes two. One will be a little more firm than the other, but mostly it's just one. And once you find the spine of the rod, then you line up, depending on what you're building, a casting or a spinning rod, then you line up with the spine, the reel seat, the guide train, etc. And that's your casting distance right there. That's your feel, because it will actually bend with the spine of the rod. Anybody out there got a rod that you set the hook on and it wants to twist to the right or left on you?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't think a lot of people understand what you're meaning when you're talking about spine.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to demonstrate here. Let me grab a rod. All right. This is the casting rod you saw in the video.
Okay.
Now, what I've done is spine this rod. So before I even put anything on this, I put it on the floor on the edge of the butt of the blank, and I put a load on it with my arm. I bend it just like I'm biting a fish, and then I'll grasp it with my fingers and my thumb, pinch the blank, and kind of twist one way or the other, and you'll feel it snap into place. And then that's the spine of the rod. Now, if it was a spinning rod, I would have built it on this side of the spine because of the nature of the way a spinning rod's used. Where it's a casting rod, you build it on the opposite side of the spine because of the nature of the way a casting rod's used. So therefore,
So how does having it spined right make it a rod cast farther?
Well, one, it's all leverage first. I mean, it reduces torque because every cylindrical object has a natural spine. Well, when you pick it up, it wants to twist in your hand one way or the other because it wants to roll into that natural spine. But just spining it doesn't make it cast farther. Lining up that guide train with the spine is what gets you your casting distance because now your guides are on the spine of the rod. So there's your sensitivity. And then depending on the guide train you're using, these are not standard guides. I don't know if you can see that at all. These are microwave airs. They're a real fast reduction guide train with a snagless A-frame and a chrome ring inside the guides. No rings to knock out. These aren't inserts.
Okay.
So lighting those up with a fast reduction guide train like this, I'm going to get probably 12 to 15% more casting distance than anything you can buy off the shelf. And you figure that out in numbers. Well, you make say your average cast is 40 yards. Figure out what an extra 12 or 15%. You're probably talking about an extra 9 or 10 feet or so.
And that helps you out a lot when you're fishing clear water too. And when you're running crankbaits, if you want to get to the maximum depth, the longer your cast, the farther deeper it's going to get.
Exactly. Or flipping or pitching. The farther away you can position from that cover, the less chance you have of spooking those bass or whatever you're fishing for. So that's the biggest difference between a custom built rod or a hand built rod and your average production rod. If you watch that spining video on my page and figure out how to do your own, you'll be really upset at some of the money you spent. And two, not all of them are going to be off the spine, but the majority of them are because they're mass production items. They put them out as fast as you can go. And
a lot of them are made by a machine.
Yeah. Some are done with machines. Some are done with workers offshore, because a few rods, if you're just slapping them together, you can do them pretty quick. Because you're talking basic wraps on the guides, et cetera. But yeah, a lot of that's been taken over by machines. So they don't necessarily get spined. Some of them will be, some of them aren't. And it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, and you also can choose your when you're doing a custom rod, you can actually choose the company that makes your blanks.
Exactly.
And there's different companies that have better blanks than others.
Well, technology with rod blanks has got to the point where I could take 4 or 5 blanks from different companies, take the labels off of them, hand them to a blindfolded builder, and I would bet money he couldn't tell me what blank came from whom. The gap that used to be between custom rods from X company in the 70s and 80s and now is about that big anymore. I use a lot of MHX blanks myself from Mudhole. They've got a proven tour record on the Bass Pro Tour. You don't see a lot of big name rod companies on that tour, especially in the custom world. Part of it's they're too expensive.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'm curious about is not just the expense, but a lot of people, I know, they think that the reel is what's fighting the fish. And 9 times of the time when you're fighting a fish, it's the actual your rod and the bend in your rod that tires out that fish. It's not the reel.
Yeah, no, the reel is just the winch you use to pull that fish in. The rod's what's holding it and fighting it. And if your rod's torquing to the right during a fight or during a hook set or wanting to torque, you're going to be fighting that all day long. And it's going to really cause you some issues with your wrist. It's probably going to cost you some lost fish.
Yeah, it all figures out, especially if you're fishing a tournament, you're fishing 8 hours, and that constant is going to give you extra fatigue, and I don't think a lot of people think about that.
Well, they don't. I mean, fishing rods have been pretty much built the same way for about a little over 100 years. And fishing is one of those things that it's easy enough for anyone to do, and the other side of that coin is the biggest problem with it is easy enough for anyone to do. Nobody, a lot of people don't go that extra step. They don't think it out the rest of the way. How can I improve? How can I improve my fishing? You know, equipment is the beginning.
Yeah. So, the question I have for you is, how much do most custom rods cost?
It all depends. It depends on the builder, and it depends on the components and the blank you select. It can run anywhere from $250 to, I've seen rods go for $1,500 to $10,000.
Yeah, I know. It can get really expensive.
It comes down to your budget.
Yeah. For the people who don't have the money and they're going in and they're having to look at these rods on the shelf, well, how can they actually go and check a rod before they buy them to see how bad the spine is?
Well, like I said, there's a video on my YouTube page called How to Find the Spine of a Fishing Rod. It's about 4 minutes long. It's a fairly clear example of how to find a spine on a rod. And watch that video, learn how to do it on your own rods that you already have. And then when you go to the shop, you know, you want to check the spine. The other thing you want to check is your guide train. I've seen rods at Bass Pro Shop on the $300 tags, and the guides are off to one side or the other.
Yeah, I'm going to move into guides in a few seconds here. I'm going to go into, we're going to kind of go into balance, then we're going to go into the guides, because guides is actually one of the most important things on your rod, and I understand that, but a lot of people, I don't think, understand that there's a balance to your fishing rods and how it should fit your hand and everything.
Well, the other problem with production rods compared to custom rods is, unless you're the average person, and I'm not, I'm 6'3", I got really big hands, long arms, those rods are built to an average number, and those numbers are, they made them up pretty much. So your average reel seat on a production rod set somewhere between 10, 10 and a half, 11, 12 inches, somewhere in there, 11 inches, 10 and a half, 9. That's great for you guys that are kind of short and short arm, because they fit you pretty good. For me, they're a little too short. And then you get into they're a little too long. You know, if a rod sticks out past about hand's width further than your elbow, it's too long for you. It's going to be unwieldy. But they slap them together. They build them to the average person. So you know, there's a reason you go into the store and Grant may pick up a rod and it feels tip heavy to him, but you pick it up and it feels butt heavy. And it's because of the difference in the length from your wrist to the middle of your elbow.
Yeah.
And that reel seat's off. That's part of the balance equation with a rod. Once you have that set, you know, then you might get perfect balance. Of course, you can't get absolutely perfectly neutral balance without adding weight to the butt. It's physically impossible. You can get close, really close, but you can't get it perfect without adding a weighted butt cap or something.
Okay.
And then if you're talking about balance, now we get into techniques. You fish tournaments.
Yeah.
You're fishing a jig. Where's your rod tip most of the day?
The rod tip's usually most of the day is, if you're flipping and fishing it, it's mostly at the 90-degree angle.
Yeah, it's up. Right?
Yeah,
it's up. Well, if you've got a tip heavy rod, what's it doing to you?
It's pulling you out.
You're fighting it. So yeah. if you're developing a rod for specific techniques like pitching and flipping, you might want it a little more butt heavy so it sits in your hand. My crankbait rod here, if I can get it up without hitting this fan again, is actually tip heavy. It's a little tip heavy with the reel on it. Now it's going to roll on me because I got this reel on, but it's a little tip heavy. See how it goes? Because when you fish a crankbait, where's that rod tip most of the day?
Down.
It's down. Well, that way it just sits in my hand while I'm working that bait or cranking it in. It just sits there. I don't have to hold it. You know, a rod's like a tube of toothpaste. You want to hang on to it, but you don't want to squirt it all over the room.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, if you're fighting a rod all day long, you concentrate. It gets to the point, especially when you get towards the end of a tournament, you're not even concentrating on your lure anymore. You're concentrating.
Yeah, you're tired. Yeah, you're tired because all those micro muscle movements you don't really notice are wearing you out. Now, I don't fish tournaments anymore. I haven't for about 15, 20 years, but I still fish like a tournament fisherman. You know, my average day on the water is 8, 10 hours.
Yeah.
And that's 2-3 days a week. So when I'm not snowed in. So yeah, those little adjustments just to balance can make a big difference, especially if you're an older guy like me and you're starting to show the wear.
Yeah.
You know.
So let's talk a little bit more about guides, because a lot of people, I mean, one thing which I'll do when I pick up a fishing rod, if I'm buying it off the shelf, I check the spine. The next thing I do is I check the eyes, because the eyes will cut your line if they're not right, and plus it will cut down your casting.
Yep. Well, you got standard guides, and unfortunately I don't have any production rods with standard guides in here anymore. I think I've got one laying around somewhere. All right. Most of the rods on the shelf, you'll either have standard guides on it or micro guides. The micro guides, Duckett brought those out, in the early 90s, late 90s. And they were the big deal for a while, but the problem with micro guides is braided line. You get a wind knot and braid, and a lot of companies don't put a locking wrap on the back of a micro guide, and you don't really need to understand how that is. If you look at a micro guide, and there's no wrap, this is not a micro, but if there's no wrap behind that micro guide that goes past the foot behind the eye, you're going to get a wind knot, and a braid is going to catch that guide, and it's going to rip it off and probably damage the blank doing it.
Oh, yeah, I'd imagine so. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really fished that much with the micro guides, just because I've seen that happen. Plus, I don't think there's much of an advantage to a micro guide over a regular guide.
Actually, the advantage to micros over a regular guide is they keep the line closer to the blank. It's a faster reduction of the line coming off the reel, you know, because when your line comes off a bait caster, it's up here. This is where your line's coming out. So it's above the blank a good 4 or 5 inches. Well, the faster you get that down and closer to the blank, the further you're going to cast, because you don't have that you're eliminating a lot of that side-to-side movement. You'll really see that with a spinning rod and the cone of flight. The way the line comes off. Fuji or somebody's got a good video out there on YouTube about their cone of flight stuff, and you can see it in slow motion how the line comes off a spinning rod. Yeah. Well, if that line is slapping the blank just a little bit, you won't even hear it or see it. It's creating friction, and it's going to shorten your casting distance.
How much do you gain by having the micro?
The micros are probably about the same thing as a microwave. You're probably looking at probably a 10% gain in casting ability, but the trade-off is they don't handle braid very well.
Okay, so if there's anything you're using braid line in, you probably don't want to put the braid through it.
No, well, the newer micros have gotten better. The braid doesn't wear grooves in the rings now, and part of the reason I've switched these American Tackle microwave guides, I get the same benefit as a micro guide, but I've got a better footprint on the blank, which improves sensitivity. And like I said, these are chrome on the inside. These are built in. They're not inserts like most guides. So you need a good sledgehammer to knock that out. I mean, somebody's probably knocked one out already, but these don't come out as easy. And you got a little bit of a higher lift on the guide. So keeping the line away from the blank, you don't have to worry about braid knots. I get the same advantage as micro with better sensitivity, easier to wrap, and they're solid. They're rated for light saltwater use if you remember to wash them off. So I've gotten away from micro guides myself. In fact, most of my, unless a customer requests it, I won't put micro guides on a rod anymore. Oh,
okay. So when we're talking about, let's go back to fighting fish, and let's talk about this first. I know there's different things your guides can be made of. I've seen them made out of steel. I've seen them made out of the carbon fiber, and I've seen them made out of plastic?
It's not really. Some of them, I've seen some graphite guides. Most of the guides you're going to see are made out of stainless steel. Yeah. Fuji's got stuff out they call Torzite. If you like spending money, those are the guides to get. they're ridiculously expensive. Really, what the guide foot is made out of is important because that's what's touching the blank. If a builder has put it together right, that guide foot's right on that spine, right on the blank, and it helps your sensitivity. But the rings are where the importance is. Most of your standard guides on your production rods, they're standard guides. They've got the cheapest rings they can put in them. There's Haldane, there's TI Chrome. I mean, it's ridiculous. You need a degree in metallurgy to figure out what some of these things are made of.
So for us who don't know what those rings are, what is a ring?
The ring is what the line passes through. A lot of times, right there, I don't know if I can get it in the shot for you here, but the ring here is where your line passes through. Most of those are inserts on most guides, and they come out.
Oh, wow.
They get knocked out. Wait, do I have that rod in here? I've got a rod from a big name company I use in my spinning rod video. I've got the name taped off because I don't want to start a fight with anybody. But that rod's only 3 or 4 years old, and 2 of the guides are already missing the inner rings that the line passes through. Well, if that ring's gone, that guide's just going to cut your line. In fact, that's how I found it, because I lost my crankbait. Beautiful cast. The crankbait sailed about 90 yards out into the lake, and I didn't have my boat. So somebody got a free crankbait.
Wow.
But, in that video, I talked about that spine, how to find the spine of a fishing rod on my YouTube page. The rod I use is from a big name company.
Yeah.
And those guides are 90 degrees off the spine.
I can probably guess which one, too.
I'm not going to say, but they're all like that. The big companies are all like that. The only way you're going to get consistent build on a rod is you have to go to a custom builder, and not everybody can afford that. But and as far as getting into rod building, because I'm sure I can't see the questions or the chat here.
Well, in a second here, I'm going to open up a phone line. They're going to be able to call in.
Okay.
So we're going to hit just 1 or 2 more topics, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. So
okay. But yeah, all that combines, the rod, the reel, the line, the guides, and how they're laid out, all combines into turning this into what it really is, and it's a lure delivery system.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a lure delivery system, and then it's the key to fighting a fish when you get one on.
Yeah. Now you'll see on some of my rods, I consider these fishable business cards. If I'm going for ultralight rods, you won't see that kind of pattern, that thread work, etc. Because the more thread and the more epoxy you add to a rod, the heavier it gets, the more you're messing with the sensitivity. But I figure, since I build rods for a living, that nobody's going to ask me, hey, where'd you get that, if my rod looks like something I bought at Walmart or Academy or Dick's or whatever.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I'm going to open it up right now, and if you guys want to call in and ask this great rod maker how to build the rods, I'm going to put the number right here. Actually, I'm going to put it over here. That is the number to call. So if you call that number, you can ask our guest any question you want about building rods. Hey, Grant, did I hide that on there? Can you guys see that?
I can't see it. It's behind us.
Oh, okay.
The only question I've seen was about ice rods, ice fishing rods. Do you do any ice fishing rods?
I do not. I can't build ice rods for what you can generally buy them for, and I don't do much ice fishing myself, so I really don't know a whole lot about them. There are guys out there, so if somebody definitely needs in contact with a custom ice rod maker, I can find them one if they need it.
Oh, 1 second. I need to find that number again. It's not showing.
Yeah, it's right behind us on the panel.
Okay. Oh, well, I'm going to put it up here.
There you go.
Can you guys see that one now?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys want to call in and ask this knowledgeable man questions about rods, you can learn directly from him. Any question you have about fishing rods, call in, guys.
And Precision Angling said Torzite are mad expensive.
They are. They're like $110, $115 a set.
What's the advantages to putting those on your?
I don't know. I think you're just paying for the Fuji name. They're supposed to be darn near indestructible, but you got to remember, it's all advertising.
Oh, indestructible. I mean, I can break them.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, humans, I don't care what you build, humans will find a way to break it. But I think a lot of that is, and don't get me wrong, Fuji puts out some great products.
Okay, MD Outdoors just asked the question because they can't call in.
Okay.
Do they make a two-piece rod? And I can answer, the two-piece rods are not nearly as sensitive as a one-piece.
No, I don't get many requests for two-piece. Usually guys that want two-piece are weekend fishermen that travel and own small vehicles. They like the advantage of carrying. I don't personally like a two-piece rod because I don't care who builds them, who makes them. Eventually that ferrule is going to loosen up and you go to cast, and now half your rod's in the lake with the line and the lure. It's just a mess.
Okay, Blue Collar Fishing is asking, what is the best all-around rod?
Best all-around rod.
If you only buy one rod.
If you can only buy one rod, what are you doing with it? That's the first question you got to ask. What are you doing with it? If you're a bass fisherman, your best all-around rod is either going to be a medium or medium heavy. I like a medium heavy for my all-around work because it'll handle a wide range of line weight and lures. Because most medium heavies, you're talking 10 to 17, 10 to 20 pounds, and a quarter to three-quarters ounce, quarter to half. So it gives you quite a bit of an ability. And if you're going to do just one rod, I would do a medium heavy with a moderate fast tip.
Okay, Mike Carson is asking, is there a break-in period for a new rod?
A break-in period, from a builder, yes, because by the time you get it from me, it's been a couple of weeks, but that epoxy hasn't probably quite fully cured, so there's still going to be a little stretch. But off the shelf, no, they've been sitting there for 6 months, a year, or longer, and
Mike, see if he can see you, if you can show him his rod.
Mike, yeah, it's right here behind me. It's on the dryer. Hang on. See if I can get over there with the phone. It's on the dryer. I got a spot back here, a couple of epoxy spots I'm not happy with. I got to fix when we're done today. Other than that, it'll be going out Friday morning. So I've got it turned off right now so I don't have that hum in the background. But it's dry. It's dry enough to use. So, yeah, that's a St. Croix 7-foot flipping stick I put together for Mike Carlson. Wing grips. Yeah, chartreuse and black mixed with chrome guides. I like chrome guides on a black blank because they don't blend in. They kind of give you a little pop of color there, help it bring it out. For anything else, I like black guides. I mean, the color is up to the person. I'll probably have some pictures and video of that up later today. In fact, I think I put a video of that on my YouTube channel yesterday just for fun.
Yeah, remember, guys, you guys can call in too. The phone lines are open.
Well, and that's where the advantages of custom rods are over production rods. When you buy a production rod, hang on.
See, Life with Melissa, these are custom rods. I wouldn't suggest spending the money on a custom rod for a kid.
No, depends on that depends on the age of the kid and whether or not they're responsible. It's no different than a cell phone. I have 4 grandkids. My oldest granddaughter will probably get a custom rod for her birthday this year. The other 3 boys, no, not till they're a little older because they'll destroy it. But yeah, I would not spend the money on a rod for a young child. I mean, if you've got it and you want to, it's your money.
Yeah, I mean, these are most custom rods, and at least in my experience, I actually own 3 of them, and they cost between $350 to $500.
Yeah, depends on the builder and what you get. It can run anywhere from $250 to $500 or more. I mean, so it's an investment for sure.
Right. Farmall Fanatic, he is located in the Champaign, Illinois area.
Yep, so am I.
Well, he was
asking
neighbor.
where
you were.
He was asking where you're located.
Actually, I work out of my house. I'm on the southwest side of Kirby Avenue there, buddy.
Hey,
I'm not hard to find.
Ernest Kohl, good morning. And good morning, Backstrap, Brotherhood Outdoors. So yeah, the phone lines are open if you want to call in and ask questions or see what's going on. We've had an awesome guest here today. I hope you guys are learning a lot about fishing rods.
Well, and we haven't discussed, while we're waiting for people to call in, a lot of guys confuse with rods. They confuse power and action.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing to touch on. I forgot about that.
Okay. Every rod has a power rating, and then what that rating is my crankbait rod. This is my shallow rod. It's a medium power, so it's only rated for 8 to 14 pound line, quarter to 3 5/8 ounce lures. But the medium power means, power is how much it takes me to flex that rod. So this is going to flex pretty easy compared to my flipping stick. And then it's got a moderate fast action. Now remember, power is how much it takes the angler to flex that rod when you've got a fish on. So a medium is going to flex a lot more than a heavy action rod and a little less than a slow action or a slow power rod. Action is how fast the tip returns to neutral. So this has got a moderate fast action, so it will not return. It'll bend through about the first 2/3 of the blank before it transfers the energy to the rest of the blank. And that's what I like for crankbaits, shallow crankbaits up to about 10 or 12 foot. It gives you just that little extra hesitation as you set that treble hook. It gives it a chance to really drive that point in. Because a bass, we all know, a bass can pick up a lure and spit it out faster than you can blink.
Oh,
that's treble hooks and all.
Hey, if you're new here and you guys haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit my subscription button underneath my name, and make sure you check out my co-host Grant, Matt McIntosh. He's here every morning, and he helps me with the show a lot. And we have great guests almost every single day up here.
So as far as, when you're talking earlier about what rods to use with what lures, a lot of that's situational.
Oh, yeah.
And personal preference.
Flipping and pitching, and then you do casting a crankbait. I've actually seen people do that before. Take their flipping and pitching rod, take off what they're pitching, tie on a crankbait, and cast it out.
Well, if you're running, 16, 20 feet or more, a heavy action probably wouldn't be a bad choice, or a heavy power wouldn't be a bad choice for deep running crankbaits.
Yeah.
Because it's not gonna bend over like my moderate rod would at the same depth. In fact, I'll probably build me a medium heavy, but around here, average lake depth's about 15 foot, so I don't have to get really deep. And there's some tricks to that too. Everybody's gotten away from the old slow reels for cranking. They're going the faster reels. Well, I'll tell you what, you put a 7.5, a 6.8 or 7.51 or an 8.31 or higher on a cranking rod, and try cranking at 20 feet for a couple hours and tell me how tired you are.
Oh.
Now you put a slower 5.61, 6.31 or something on that. It's a little different because you don't have to turn it as much to get the same depth. So again, it goes back to where rods and reels and lines have to be matched. Lighter, you run 10-pound test, you can get an extra foot or two out of some of them crankbaits.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and types of lines, too. I mean, you got a braided line, you're going to bring up higher, and you put more fillet on there, you're going to run, and then you put fluorocarbon, and you're going to run them deeper.
Yep.
All the same line depth.
Yep.
You got what's called dialing in your crankbait to the depth that you need it.
Yep. Same with jerk baits or anything else. And we're talking about custom rods and the difference. It's one of those things you got to feel too. I mean, you really got to feel it. I've got this crankbait rod here, and if you were in the room with me, I can hand you this crankbait rod with this 6.7 ounce reel on it. So this rod's probably right about not quite 10 ounces total.
Yeah.
I can hand you the same production rod I was talking about earlier from big name company with no reel on it, and it feels like a brick. It's a lot heavier, and it's 6 inches shorter. So, a lot of guys like cork grips on a rod, full grips. All you're doing is adding weight.
Oh, yeah, I know. And a lot of times in that weight, you don't think about it, but until you start fishing like a tournament, you're fishing 8-10 hours.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
It does. So there's a lot of things you can do with a rod to customize it to you outside of the bling, the thread wrap and whatever else is on it.
Yeah. A lot of times the goal is just to lighten as much as you can.
Yeah. Oh, if I wanted to build an extremely light rod, I could do it. I'm just not a big fan of carbon fiber grips.
Yeah.
But yeah, carbon fiber grips. The guide train I use is not quite 3 ounces total with all of them on the rod. And then you minimize thread wrap and epoxy, and yeah, you can keep a rod under 10 ounces easy.
Oh yeah, I know you can. The lighter your rod, I find, anyways, for me personally, I find the lighter the rod, the easier it is to fish all day long.
It is, because it's comfort. This rod here I've been playing with this morning, my crankbait rod. I've got a spinning rod over there, my jerkbait rod, my flipping stick. I'm slowly but surely replacing all my rods. But yeah, when you're old and beat up like I am, that's going to be great come spring, because I can just, it's just going to sit in my hand.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It absolutely kills me with my back injuries to use those heavy rods all day long.
Yeah, well, you're standing and twisting, and yeah, I know a little bit about that. That's part of the reason I can't fish a kayak. But I said this in my video I put up the other day about 5 tips to improve your bass fishing. All the most expensive equipment in the world won't make you a better fisherman. However, having equipment that's designed just for you or designed to fit you and your needs is really going to help you take your focus off, man, I hurt, they're not biting, it's hot, I don't, and put it on, hey, where's that next bite coming from? Right. And custom rods, it's like cars for us folks here. It's an expression of your personality. It really is.
Bites are only like a millisecond long. You don't even, a lot of your biggest fish, you don't even hardly feel them take that bait. They take it so lightly, that if you don't have a sensitive rod, you're not going to catch most of those bigger bass that are biting your line.
Yeah, well, and part of that is your line choice. And I don't know about you, but I see a lot of guys out there with a bait caster, and when you're holding it, I don't see their finger right here underneath the line touching the line, because the God's honest truth, you're going to feel that tap on that line through your finger long before it transmits through the tip of the rod.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I see guys doing all kinds of crazy stuff in the sporting goods stores, talking about finding the sensitivity of a rod, etc. And the old school idea is have your buddy put the tip on his throat and then kind of whisper and see if you can feel it in the grip or in the reel seat. But the truth is, if your buddy just takes that rod tip and just barely taps it with his fingernail at near the, just between the tip and the first guide up there, you should feel that all the way through the rod. I mean, it doesn't have to be hard, but you should feel that. And graphite's extremely sensitive anyway. But your biggest sensitivity is going to be the pound test line you've got on here, and B, that finger touching that line. That's one of those tricks I learned from them old guys in my bass club when I first got started. And because, unless you're line watching, you're always, as a bass fisherman, especially in tournaments or fishing like one, you're always looking for the next cast, the next piece of cover, yada, yada, yada. But so that finger there, that usually separates them for me. I can tell who's been fishing a while and who's probably just gotten started. So, there's so many things that go into being successful as a bass fisherman at a certain level, and the rod is just the beginning.
Oh yeah, that's all your equipment does. So making sure you have good lures, making sure your line's right, making sure that your rods are good, and then making sure that you are using the correct reel with the rod, and then making sure that you're using the correct speed with the lure you're using for your rod, and then making sure you're using the right pound test, and then you have to figure out what the fish are looking for that day.
Right. Yep, it's an exercise. Now, that's the other thing about custom rods. That give you an advantage. You buy one rod from the store, you're stuck with whatever grips they put on it. And you'll notice most of the rods I send out have this 2.5-inch teardrop butt grip. since we don't have a full grip here because we're saving a little weight, if you need it, that gives you all the extra leverage you need, and it's big enough to fit your hand. So it gives you that little more leverage if you need it. But you get to choose the grip types. These are wing grips. Mm-hmm. They're made by the same company that makes wing golf grips. Basically, it's EVA hard foam underneath with the wing grip material on top. They're a little tacky, and they stay that way even if they're wet. So they're really light, real easy to grip, wet, slimy, whatever. And unlike cork, you don't have to seal them, and you can clean them off with an alcohol wipe. So
let's talk about rod care. I know a lot of people, they buy the expensive rods and never even think about how to clean them properly. And
they don't clean them. It's just like reels. They don't clean them. Well, if you're definitely fishing salt water, you always want to rinse your equipment off when you're done for the day because the salt will just wreck guides, reels, etc. For freshwater guys, you just want to wipe them down, get the dirt off of them, make sure your guides are clear. Because they'll pick up little minor obstructions along the way that you won't see that'll cause you a lot of headaches later. And grips, if you got cork grips, you don't want to wipe them down with alcohol. Any type of alcohol solvent because it'll dry them out. Best way to do it is if they're really dirty and you want to clean them up, lightly sand them till they look clean, clean them off, and then get you some U40 cork sealer from Tackle Warehouse or somewhere. It's like $6 for a little thing like this, lasts forever, and seal them every season before you start using them. Other than that, EVA grips you can wipe off with a damp rag, and some alcohol. Wing grips, like I said, you can wipe off with an alcohol wipe. Reel care. Learn how to take your reels apart, at least for the basics, for crying out loud, people. I used to do a lot of reel repair before it got to the point where it's too much to have most reels fixed unless you're fishing a lot of expensive reels. And I would get reels after a season of fishing that have never seen grease. They've never been cleaned. Most companies send you diagrams. It's really not hard to figure out how to take one apart. And in this day and age, you can go on YouTube and find anything.
Oh yeah.
But even if you just even if you don't take them apart, even if you just clean out your worm gear on your bait casters and kind of blow them out, blow the dust out, blow them out, and put a little oil in there, not WD-40. Don't do that. Because WD-40 likes to attract dirt, but you want to put a little reel grease in there, not a whole lot, and you'll get some more use out of them.
Another thing which I don't see people doing is they don't check the eyes of their rods before going.
No,
something important. And I check those. I'll put like a cotton ball in there. If it's nagging on the cotton ball, I know the eye's bad. Yeah,
you probably got to insert loose or something's cut a groove in it, or. That's why I like these American Tackle Airwave microwave guides is because those rings are chrome. They're hard to tear up. The other, check your guides, wipe your rods down. There's not a whole lot to rod care. You just have to do it. I keep a little rubbing alcohol in the shop because it cuts epoxy and a few other things and everything. When I'm done with whatever I'm working on, like this rod back here, before it gets wrapped and sent on Friday, it'll get a good wipe down, cleaned off, etc. But yeah, check your eyes. And transporting rods. This is where guys cause most of their own problems. Transporting your rods. Now, we're all guilty, those of us who own pickup trucks, of throwing our rods in the bed of the pickup truck. Because it's easy, right? It's convenient. Well, the problem is you're driving down the road, that rod's banging off that bed. So you're damaging your guides, you're damaging your rod, especially with graphite. Graphite it's not that it's not sturdy, it just doesn't bend and work the same way a full fiberglass rod would. And they're a little less tough. You can take a full fiberglass rod and tie it in the shape of a balloon animal and still fish with it. You try that with a graphite rod and you've got 3 or 4 pieces because they don't bend, they don't torque the same way, but yeah, don't quit putting them in the bed of your pickup truck, shoving them in the trunk of your car, putting them in the car where the tips up against the window and the rod's bent like this. You're going to cause minor fractures in your rods, and sooner or later, a hook set, a snag, you're going to break it. That's all there is to it.
Oh yeah.
The The other problem I see with rods, especially I get this all the time from the custom world, you're buying off the shelf rods. The reason they're so flexible is because they've got a high fiberglass content. Well, a good graphite rod does have some fiberglass in it. They all do. That, it's part of the way they're made. But it's graphite. It doesn't bend the same way. This is much stiffer here, like this, than a fiberglass rod would be. But that's where your sensitivity is going to come in too. Don't high stick them. If you're trying to bring in a big fish, don't reach up here and high stick them like this, because you will snap your rod. I see guys do that all the time. And it's usually, well, you must have done something. No, you did a high stick and you broke it about 3 feet up. Yeah.
So how would you recommend transporting your rods?
There's all kinds of rod holders out there. I mean, that you can purchase. If you're handy, get you some PVC and build you a rod holder that fits across the bed of your truck that you can sit in so the rod tips are up in the air. Or if you're like me and haven't got around to it yet, you put them in the back seat of the truck if you've got a back seat, and roll the window down a little bit so the tips can stick out so that they're not bent. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. I mean, I do a lot of bank fishing right now. There's rod holders that you can purchase off of Amazon that'll hold 5 or 6 rods that are easy to carry. You can make them out of PVC yourself. But yeah, get some kind of rod holder that'll let these rods sit where they're sturdy, but the tips aren't, you're not banging guides off of tailgates and everything else. Tailgates are the biggest rod killers I've ever seen. Tailgates and doors.
Oh yeah.
Because they like to close on them. Anybody that hasn't done that, raise your hand, because I'm lying if I do. But yeah, it's just, we all get lazy. We're human. And hey, it's just easier when I'm going, a couple blocks across to fish a certain lake, just throw the rods in the bed of the truck and go. But over time, I'm causing myself more problems than I'm fixing.
And costing yourself a lot of money if you use it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. Yes, I build my own rods, but anybody that's thinking about, I'm going to get into rod building to save money, don't do it, because you're not going to save money. I can buy rods cheaper than what I can build them for. I'm just particular. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even it's like a regular blank. If you have a good blank, it's like $165. I don't think people use that.
Oh, we lost Grant.
Yep.
So long, Grant. But yeah, you're not, if you want to get into building your own rods, that's great, but you're going to spend some money. It's not a cheap hobby. And once you get into it and start learning things and how to do things, and well, then there's always all the nice stuff that you've always wanted. So there goes even more money. But no, I started this basically for myself, and then friends and family saw some of the rods, they fished with them, and next thing you know, people asked me, hey, can you make me one? So then I hit Twitter last fall, and it's been kind of crazy since. That's fine. It keeps me busy. Especially where I'm retired, it keeps me alive, because then I'm not in the wife's hair all day long. But, you got to watch out for marketing out there. I'm going to tell you guys right now, here's a little secret. You see these rods, they've got IM6, IM7. That's intermediate modulus. It's a rating on the blank, or a high modulus. Don't get wrapped up in those. Ignore the IM ratings because they don't mean anything. And I'll tell you why. There's no set standard in the industry on how those ratings are calculated. Abu Garcia calculates them one way. Duckett Rods does it another way. Company C does it a third way, and none of them are the same. So don't. High modulus graphite rods are really brittle too, because they're extremely high modulus. All that is just the hundreds of thousands of pounds of force it takes to actually break one. But those ratings, they use them for advertising. It's like all these scent companies out here. They tell you, well, our scent's scientifically proven. Yeah, I want to see the science. They never post the science.
MD Outdoors is asking, what's a good rod that you recommend for around $200?
Around $200? As far as a production rod, I don't know. I've been building for myself long enough that I have no idea what's on the shelf anymore. start with your bigger companies, Abu, Shimano, etc. Those guys have been around a long time. Not all their rods are going to be perfect, but they're not going to be crap either. Total. I mean, I know Abu had some problems with the original Veritas, and I think that was just some simple manufacturing issues they finally fixed with the 2.0. But yeah, as far as production rods, I really don't know. I spend all my time in the world of custom. So my idea of what's a good rod for $200 may be a whole lot different than everybody else's.
Right. We had somebody mentioned they have no idea what we're talking about, that they just go and fish. So,
well, and that's fine. I mean, that's,
in your opinion, what is the benefits of a custom rod?
the benefits of a custom rod are, A, it's built to fit you. It's going to be lighter. It's going to be more comfort fitting for you. It's going to cast further. It's going to fight fish better. It's going to last longer. Oh.
Uh-oh. We lost our guest.
Wrong button.
We'll need to send him an invite.
I heard him say, oops.
Oh, let's see here. Oh, that's not it. I need to go get his email.
Gubert says Lew's rods are the best. Yanker Crank says Duckett's.
Oh yeah, everyone's having a discussion down there about what's the best rods. I'm reading along down there, guys. It's just we have a great guest today.
Very knowledgeable.
And the invite everyone got from Kohl Outdoors is every time I add someone to the calendar or add someone that's going to come on the show, it's going to send everyone a notification to Kohl Outdoors as an event. They're just inviting them back.
Bryant's Outdoors, I believe he was saying that his rods start at 300.
Oh yeah, it depends on the blanks. Welcome back.
Yeah, I think that was somebody trying to tell me I need to shut up.
Hey, do you have a rod that's around $200?
Do I have? No, my average rod runs anywhere between, low end runs $250, $275. You can thank shipping and taxes for that.
Oh yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that shipping on a rod's like $25, $30.
Well, time you add insurance and the shipping tube, you're talking more like 50.
Yeah.
So, and depending on where you live too. But the benefits of a custom rod is it's really hard to describe. You have to fish one. If you're in
a low end custom rod is better than the high end production rod.
I'll take a low end custom over a high end production rod any day.
Well, that's because everything's been done and made sure everything was actually
exactly. I mean, if it was worth it, I could literally take your production rod, your $60 Walmart special, take it apart and put it back together the right way, and it would feel 100 times different. The problem is, by the time we do that and the monetary cost it would take to do that, you might as well buy a custom rod anyway. You know,
that's still not bad. And another thing is, these production rods you're replacing every 2-3 years.
Exactly.
The rod's going to last you more like 5, 6, 7, 8 years or a lifetime if you take good care of them.
Yeah, if you take care of your equipment, you're talking a lifetime rod. You're talking an heirloom rod you can pass on to your children, your grandchildren, etc. If you take care of them. I mean, things do happen.
Wants to know, you've already answered this, and if you would consider making ice fishing rods, and he said that he doesn't. Okay. He said he wouldn't make them because he doesn't know. I'm not going to say enough about them, but he hasn't done any ice fishing, and I don't think he said there was enough money in them.
Well, the problem is, for what it would cost me to make him a rod, and time I put in my little bit of profit, he could have bought 4.
Yeah.
You know, there are guys out there that make custom ice rods. If he really wants a custom ice rod, I can try to find him somebody. I'll just need a way to get a hold of him. But I just don't do ice rods. My focus is bass fishing in particular. I built a striper rod. I've been asked to do a couple of saltwater rods. but I try to stay away from things I don't know a whole lot about. I mean, a rod is a rod is a rod, basically. But when you get into saltwater, et cetera, they're set up just a hair different in some things because, saltwater rod is why you see all the big thread weaves and stuff on them because they don't have to be that sensitive,
Yeah.
But we were talking about the advantages of a custom rod. The lightweight casting distance, the feel, et cetera. I mean, and you're owning a rod. It's like a custom anything. If your builder's done his job, besides all of the intricate things that you can't see, that rod's customized. It's personal to you. I just built a rod for fishing in the dark as a surprise. I don't know if anybody knows who Eddie is. He runs a charity in Texas there in Austin to help veterans with PTSD and take them fishing. Well, I knew Eddie was a former infantryman. So, and through a little talking, I found out what kind of rods and grips he liked. Well, I just sent him a rod that was built with infantry blue on the guide wraps and the CIB on the split grip. So, it was very personal to him. That's not a rod he can go buy anywhere else.
Oh, yeah. When you start doing stuff custom like that, I mean, it makes your rods even feel differently, and everything feels different. You have a lot of advantages.
Well, and that's why I don't have like a production style rod. I don't have Gumpa's, flip and stick for sale for, $179.99 or whatever, because that's a production rod.
Yeah. And
I don't keep a lot of blanks and equipment around because I never know what I'm going to build next. Grant might want this, you might want that. I want something different personally, but I never know from customer to customer what I'm going to build next.
Yanker Crank was asking what you thought about a Fuji blank.
Fuji blanks. If it's Fuji, it's probably a decent blank. I do not have any experience with fishing a Fuji blank. I haven't got my hands on any of them. So most likely though, Fuji's got a great rep in the fishing industry, and there's a reason for that. So yeah, it'd probably be an okay investment.
Okay. Yanker Crank makes custom crankbaits. Yeah.
I used to do that. I found out I'm not a very good painter. Thankfully, bass aren't art critics. But Fuji, Shimano, Abu, the big guys been around a while. They're gonna, at their mid-range and higher end prices, they're gonna turn out some pretty decent stuff. It's not gonna be perfect. I'm telling you, watch that how to find the spine of a fishing rod video on my channel. Figure out how to do it on your own, and then go play with some of these high-end blanks in Bass Pro Shops and stuff, and you'll be surprised. You will.
Oh, yeah, they don't spine there. They just go to get wherever they want to, and
if you're gonna drop $300 on a rod, call me, and I'll build you one. At least you'll know it'll be built right. But no, this is my hobby business, so I try not to get too busy because I still want to go fishing.
Yeah.
But yeah, custom rods over a production rod, it's like, what's the difference between a stock 5.0 Mustang and one that's been tweaked?
Right.
And custom, you got some older guys. The custom rod world's really, really strange. You've got some guys who've been doing this a long time. They're old, they're crotchety, and they like to run around and tell people, well, that's not custom, doing this isn't custom. If you take a Hemi engine and you put a blower on it and put it back in the truck, whether the engine was already built or not, you customize that truck. But that's rod building world. There's a lot of strange folks in this.
My car
business. Yeah. We're gearheads just with fishing rods. And you want to start an argument in a workshop with a bunch of rod builders to start talking about what's the best blank. Everybody's got their thing. I like MHX, like I said, proven tournament tour record on the Bass Pro Tour. John Cox builds his own. And trust me, if these blanks wouldn't stand up to that, he wouldn't be using them. Yes, he is sponsored by Mudhole. That's part of it, but he builds his own. So they're proven to handle bang for your buck. An MHX blank on average is usually cheaper than anything else. A lot of times, even with custom rods, what you're paying for is the name on the butt. Usually the difference between a $70 rod blank and a $150 rod blank is whether it says MHX or St. Croix on it. And that's just an example. I'm not knocking any of these businesses. As a matter of fact, the blank on my bench right now is a St. Croix. I'll build you on whatever blank you want. Personally, I don't care. It's what makes you happy from a customer standpoint. My personal preference, I like the bang for your buck I get out of the MHX rods.
Yeah, MHX are some great blanks.
And then as far as custom rods advantages, well, we all shop at the same places. Everybody's got the same Strike King crankbaits. That's why I started buying from custom lure makers, custom jig makers, because I've got stuff. I bought some from Marty's Lures over on Twitter, and I had him do me a few cranks that I know good and well nobody around here has.
Yeah, PD Fishing wants to know if you'll do catfish blanks, catfish rods.
I can. Again, a lot of your catfish rods are priced at a point where if I build you a custom catfish rod, it's probably going to cost you double or triple. So it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a custom rod is not cheap.
No, it's custom. I did a couple for a client out in Iowa, and fortunately, I've got a guy in Florida that is incredible with a paint gun, and I had him do me a mahi color rod. He's got a rod. It's mahi colors. It's green and chartreuse and blue, except he wanted it in orange and black and green. And I did two of those, one for him, one for his son, and he loved them. But that's expensive. To get that custom paint job done was an extra $150, But that's the other thing with a custom rod. You can have something that nobody else has.
Right. That's what PD Fishing just said. He likes the point that I will have the only one. It's custom to you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's custom to you. I mean, somebody else can use it, but it's not going to fit them as well. And I try not to build the same rod twice. But there's only so much I can do artwork-wise with thread and stuff that's, a lot of people like the same things. I'm surprised I haven't got 45,000 requests for a black and green fade like I did on my flipping stick. But there is a point where I'm going to have to redo certain things because you just can't escape it. But yeah, as far as other things, that rod is specific to you personally. So it's, again, and then if they're built correctly, they're spined correctly, and trust me, there's some custom builders out there that don't do it. They slap them together just like everybody else does. I'm always leery of custom builders who are selling rods at under the $200 price point.
Yeah, PD Fishing, you're exactly right. You get what you pay for.
Yes. And now, there's two sides of that, though. You do get what you pay for, but sometimes you're paying for the name and you're not necessarily getting the bang for your buck. My microwave airs that I put on these are a whole lot cheaper than the Fuji Torzites, but they're just as sturdy.
Yeah.
So, it all depends. It's your money when it comes down to it. It's your budget, what you are comfortable with you doing.
Well, I want to thank you for coming today.
Oh, I appreciate you having me.
And how can people get a hold of you if they want a custom rod?
Well, they can hit my webpage. It's up. I don't have a great website. I'm working on revamping. There's email there. The best way to get a hold of me is hit Twitter and find me at S.Gumpa and send me a DM. And
I have his on Twitter and Wendy's on Nightbots, guys. So if you are trying to get a hold of him, the Nightbot running around has his link there. Hit the link and go over there and hit that button for him. Follow him and then send him a note. Yeah, that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me is Twitter. Well, so I'm slowly but surely bringing everything into webpage, etc. And I'll get there eventually. But yeah, Twitter is probably the best way to find me. And once you have that all set up, I will go back and I will put that website actually into the description of this video. So, all right, thanks. Thanks for coming today, and yeah, thanks for having me. You're welcome. Anytime you want to come back, just let me know, and I'll bring you back up. All right, thanks, man. You guys have a good day. Thanks.
Good day, Aaron.
Yeah, you too, Grant. Bye.
Good day, Aaron. So we're back to just me and Grant. We have the phone line is open, and we try to keep our guests down to about an hour in here, just for we can have some interaction with our viewers.
That was a quick hour. It went by fast. Very informational. I learned quite a bit today.
You learn why you go out and spend that kind of money for a rod?
Right.
Yeah, but I own a couple custom rods, and they're absolutely worth it. And that's the reason is because you got the spine right. If you don't have the spine right on your fishing rod, and you fish with one that has it right, it's like fishing night and day.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to look into getting one.
There, it's right there. The Nightbot right there has his custom rods right there. I brought him on here to teach us more about rods today, for we can actually improve our fishing as a group here. Good morning, Rail Trap Fishing. You just missed the best part of the show.
Yeah, I definitely learned quite a bit. I guess, I do just throw my rods in the back of my truck. Rocco, passion for hunting and fishing. Good morning. Got a lot of people coming in late today.
Oh, yeah. I need more coffee. Can you hold it down for a few seconds?
Yes, indeed. Very interesting. Hope you that was here from the beginning definitely learned a lot. I will drop his YouTube channel. He's got some good videos. Yeah, I've had a few slammed in doors. Had to slam on the brakes before to miss a deer and tackle box go flying up. So I'll make sure to try to strap the tackle box down in the back of the truck for sure. Yes, very informative for sure. All right, Country Roads Outdoors, have a good day. The only fish I've ever had break a rod was a catfish, or it was a catfish rod.
I've had quite a few rods broken over the years.
Scott's thoughts, I've had you for a while.
So we are now open for business. We are open for call-ins. If you want to call in, the number's on the screen. If you're overseas, make sure you add that 1 for a country identifier. Remember, you're going to have to pay for international calls. So how's everyone doing? Anyways, did you guys enjoy that today?
Yeah, I did, for sure.
And it's learning to ask the right questions to get the guy where we're going. So we have the phone open, and we have a spot up on the panel. If you want to come up on panel, you're more than welcome to come up here.
Yeah, I forget who it was that was asking about kids' rods. Unless you're just loaded with money, a custom rod would definitely not be the thing for a kid.
Oh, absolutely not. Unless that kid's unless they're talking like a 16, 17, 18-year-old.
Right, that's really into fishing.
Oh, farmer, I don't think you're that shy. And
who do we have tomorrow?
Guest. We have that guide and professional fisherman.
Yeah, that's right.
We have Brian. We have Brian Brushall coming on, and he is one of the premier guides for fishing in the country right now. He's going to be an absolutely great guest, And we're going to hopefully be able to do it this way. So you guys going to be able to call in questions to him because I think he's going to be on panel with us. And I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. I do need to figure out how to get the different pop-out windows so I can put names under people, but I'm struggling with that part.
Lady Heart for Life has never been fishing. Well, what part of the country are you located in? Maybe we could link you up with somebody that could take you fishing. If you've never wanted to go or never been and want to go, that's definitely something you need to do.
Oh, everyone needs to fish. Thanks for congratulating me on my 1K. Yeah, we actually had some people come over from Twitter today, too. That was absolutely awesome.
Right.
Yeah, I know a lot of people ask why I don't start the shows right when I post them, but there's a lot of work behind the scenes, guys.
Definitely. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. There's several people.
Oh, there's several people right in that area.
Pennsylvania. I know.
Batman Fishing, I think.
Batman Fishing's in Pennsylvania. I'm thinking Bass and Binks TV's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and Tamal, he's got a few different topics he wants to cover, so we're going to stick to what he wants to cover, and then we'll open up the phone. And I think we're going to have WTF Mike up here on panel with us.
Okay.
If you remembered, I haven't talked to him in a couple days. Hope he's not mad at me. Yeah, it's crazy. I had to set the my likes and dislikes off, guys. But you guys still like it, but you guys just can't see.
Right. Yeah, make sure you hit that like button. Click that thumbs up. Had a great show today. If you did come in late, make sure you go back and rewatch it because it was very informative. Aaron from Gumpa's Honey Hole Custom Rods, very knowledgeable.
Oh, yeah, and I think I covered everything about fishing rods that a person can ask. And if you're spamming my stream, please don't do it when we have guests here. That's completely disrespectful.
Yes.
I've seen one person doing it.
Yeah. Good morning, Ralph Barton.
How you doing, Ralph Barton? Dude, what's that?
And if you're spamming and one of the moderators delete it, don't get mad at them or us. I mean, that's just something you shouldn't do in a live stream.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially when you have guests here. I mean, a lot of these guests I have coming on here have 50, 60, 70, 100,000 followers in places. And it doesn't look very good for the channel.
Right. Ralph Barton, we're doing good. We just had Aaron from Gumpa's Honey Hole Custom Rods. He just talked for right at an hour. Learned a lot about custom rods. If you get a chance, go back and watch the beginning of the stream. Very informative.
Oh, Lacey is such a whack a troll.
Yep, Lacey's a good troll whacker.
Yeah, and it's no. And also remember this: all these people are watching in these streams, or coming back and watching them again. They pay attention to every little detail.
Right. And yesterday's guest, he was still watching after the show whenever I was online ordering my lures, that he called in and straightened out the shipping price. I mean, that's great customer service there.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely awesome. What do I mean by spamming? You want to explain spamming, Grant?
Yes, spamming is saying Hey, if you don't have my channel, come knock on my door and ring my bell, and I'll return the favor.
Or advertising your...
Or saying, hey, I'm going live in 30 minutes. If you want to check out my live stream, come to my live stream in 30 minutes, knowing that we're live from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern time. I mean, that's just disrespectful.
Yeah. I mean, it just jumps your chat completely up. And when we're sitting here trying to read what's going on, especially when we're trying to catch questions for the guest, and then you put 5 of those in a row, it jumps the chat so far up, I can't catch them.
Thank you, Gil Skills.
Thank you, Gil Skills.
Ralph Barton's going fishing.
I want to go fishing.
Yep. Chrome 3Cast. Good morning.
No, Farmer Fernax is just self-promoting.
Self-promoting, yes. The coaching grind, I know you're joking. I'm still waiting on your first video.
Lacey said, "I'll pop." Hey, thanks, Gumpa Honey's Holes in the chat, guys. Everyone, make sure you get him. Go help him grow. Well, actually, I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a long time. I'm going to hold a show ransom. So we can grow him. Let's see here.
Good morning, Joy Stewart.
Let me go to Social Blade, guys. And we're going to help him out. We're going to help him hit 100, I think. I don't know what his numbers were, though.
I think I was 71 yesterday on him.
Grant, I lost it. Do you see it?
What's that?
His email, his thing.
I can post his link in the chat.
Okay.
Yep, right there. The link I just posted is...
Oh, that wasn't very smart, but I'll come back to our thing. I just want to pull his name here. I'm going to go pull up on Social Blade, and we're going to go and show him a little bit of love, guys. He came on today. He shared his knowledge with us, and we all have to be thankful for that. So let's see here. I want to see his subscriber count.
Scott's thoughts is saying he's at 77.
Yeah. Yep. Now I need to go back over here, and I'm going to show my screen. Let's make that thing roll, guys. Come on. We can do it.
Yes, Lacey. Very fine line.
It is on Gumpa Honey's Holes on page, guys. He's at 78 subscribers. Let's see if we can get him to 90. So does everyone have him? Please double check that you have him. And if you don't, please go over there and check him out. Show him some love. He came here. He spent a good hour with us. He gave us a lot of love, guys. He's taught us a lot today.
Yeah, definitely learn a little more about custom rod building. He's even got a few videos on ways to improve your bass fishing.
Yeah, can you guys Grant, can you keep dropping the link for me?
Definitely.
Let's see if we can get him up. Let's aim for 85. How many people we got in the chat?
Mickey XOXO, good morning.
Good morning, Mickey. I can't see the chat right now, guys, so if you ask me questions, Grant's going to have to tell me. He's at 79, guys. Can we get him up to 85? We have a few people in here, don't we?
Yeah, I'm seeing 18 watching.
Yeah, and I'm sure most of us don't have them. So let's make this numbers roll, guys. There we go. There's 83. Can we get 2 more? Can we get 2 more for him? Come on, let's get up to 85. Let's show him some love. He came here today. He came on. He showed love to our channel. Let's grow his YouTube channel just a little bit, guys. Can we get 2 more?
Yeah, he's got
There's 85. Okay, now we can take the. Thank you guys for showing him some love. That's a good nice grow, and thank you guys so much for showing him some love. Don't count me. So there we go. So thank you guys, and welcome Mickey XOXO. Awesome.
Yep. And Aaron, if you don't have any of these channels in here in the chat, check them out. We've got a lot of great channels in here.
Yeah, and I am doing so much here. I got so many awesome guests coming in, and I think we only have one date left in January that we have guests on that we don't have, which is absolutely awesome. I mean, we have one date left in January, and then we'll be working on February's schedule. So if you enjoy coming here, guys, we're going to have a lot more of these guests and a lot more education coming up. And for WTF Mike, he asked for walleye. I am getting him walleye. Ask Grant.
Yeah.
Grant's shaking his head. Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested to learn about some of the other species I haven't ever caught too. So, like walleye.
And hit that like button for me, guys. Huh? Awesome. See, now we're growing them fast. So, yeah, did everyone treat my stream out? I forgot to ask everyone to go treat this out this morning. So we have the call-in open. If you want to call in and talk with me and Grant, or if you want to come back up on, anyone wants to come up on panel, we have another 40 minutes left of the show. I just try to make sure I get to pay attention to the people coming in here.
Right.
Where is he at now?
86.
86, guys.
He was at 72 at the start of the morning and 86 now.
Yeah, we're growing them. And his custom rods are absolutely awesome. I have to order one myself.
Well, thank you, Coach CJ. We appreciate it.
All coffee. Completely all coffee. I don't even have coffee in the coffee maker now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, just drink some water. It's better for you.
Oh, yeah, I know. I got to get something to drink.
Yeah, it's pretty nice, isn't it, Mickey? Got the background and pretty cool. Yesterday he had some underwater fish. Yeah, the water is in the coffee.
The water's in the coffee?
Yes, if you're just coming in and you missed the first hour of the show, make sure you go check it out. Aaron from Gumpa's Honey Hole, very informative about custom rods and rod building. I definitely learned a lot today. Now I've just got to figure out a way to transport my rods, not just in the back of in the bed of my truck.
There we go. I got something to drink now. Otherwise, my voice goes away. So, Yankee Crank, how you doing today? Come on, someone call in. I don't know. Maybe I'll start putting the call-in number in, Grant. I mean, no one seems to call in. Actually, I better set up if I can take them. There we go.
Coach CJ, that was Fat Man Fishing's nickname.
What? What? Big what?
He was saying sexy chocolate drop. Fat Man Fishing is sexy white chocolate. Rod socks. Yeah, I guess I need to get some rod socks. Captain Warlock.
Oh, thanks. I can change the background over and over and over. And see, I can almost touch that tree over there. Right? I'm just at all my reach. Uh-oh. Yeah, I need to hook up with Gil and ask him how to get the pop-in screens. I've been trying to, and I can't get it to work. What do I do all day? I'm a personal trainer. I start my days off early.
See, Gumpa, Aaron, if you're still listening, where'd it go? I missed it.
No one.
Somebody had a question.
Oh, that's fine now, Gil. You can self-promote yourself. I don't want. We have some people who will copy and paste like a 3-inch thing, and they constantly put it up there like 5-6 times in a 20-minute time.
Yep. Chromecast was asking Aaron, "Do you build center pin rods?"
I'm a personal trainer and fitness trainer, man. Yeah, I'm not getting dizzy. I got dizzy yesterday watching all the fish swim around me. It made me go. It made me get dizzy. I have not and usually don't do center pin rods. Okay. Now we're getting quiet, guys. So, you guys excited about tomorrow's guest?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's one of the premier guides, and it's going to be absolutely awesome having him here. We're all going to learn a lot about walleye fishing. Through the ice, because it's going to be ice fishing safety, ice fishing. Yeah, you like the trees? Oh, I know. Gumpa's honey hole says I'm talked out. Walker fam, how you doing? Welcome back. Outdoorsman's in here. Hey, can we do a quick roll call, Grant?
Yeah, let me just do a refresh here. They're asking who we have tomorrow.
Tomorrow we have Brian Bushback, and he is a professional walleye angler, and he is one of the premier guides in the country right now for fishing in the northern Minnesota, Wisconsin area. So we are very lucky to have him. You're going to learn a lot about walleye fishing, especially through the ice and ice fishing safety.
All right, we've got Backstrap Brotherhood Outdoors, Captain Warlock, Gill Skills, G Money Strong Outdoors, Gumpa's Honey Hole, Chromecast, Mickey XOXO, The Outdoorsman, PD Fishing, Ralph Barton, Scott's Thoughts Channel, The Coaching Grind, formerly known as Coach CJ, Walker Fam, and Yank Your Crank.
And yes, I'm using OBS, and I don't know what the fall brawl for walleye is. I'm in Michigan, so I haven't heard about that. Have you, Grant?
I don't know anything about up north. He's saying in Erie. I'm taking that's Lake Erie fall brawl.
He's here in Pennsylvania and New York.
Yeah, I'll probably start crop fishing next week.
You going duck hunting tomorrow?
I'm done duck hunting. I think it's supposed to be nasty today and the next couple days. We're right on the line. Could be rain, could be freezing rain, could be snow.
Oh, we should check it out. They have sweet jackpot prices. Oh, cool. Good morning, Hook'em Dano. Make sure you go back and watch the first hour today, guys, because You will learn a lot.
Yes, Hook 'em Dano, you missed out. We had Aaron from Gumpa's Honey Hole Custom Rods. He was teaching us about custom rods.
There's no ducks there in Oklahoma. What's that? Oh, we'll show that one.
Yeah, there's no ducks in southern Illinois either.
Yeah. You gotta have to come up here and duck hunt next year, Grant.
Sounds good to me. I should be on Monday through Friday day shift by next fall.
You hope.
Or this fall.
Oh, man, that's too bad, Hook 'em Dano. And the way we're running these morning shows, the first hour is going to be with the guest, and the second hour we're doing it with just me and Grant, and whoever wants to come up here or call in. I think that's a good divide for the show. What do you think, Grant?
Sounds good.
Because then it seems like OBS is a very hard part maker. It takes a lot of time. Yeah, I mean, I do my group fitness class early in the morning, and that's most of my day right there. It's an hour or two in the morning.
All the ducks are in South Arkansas. Yeah, they've been a weird migration this year. Weather's been so back and forth, hot and cold, and I'm ready to start catching some crappie.
Live from the crappie fields. Crappie fish where you're duck fishing, duck hunting.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little easier for me to join you live fishing than it would be from the duck blind.
Oh, yes, I will do some steelhead fishing later on this year.
All right, Aaron, thanks for joining us today. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Aaron. Anytime you want to stop in here and into this chat, it helps you. It helps everyone out. Thanks for coming today, and thank you for coming.
Steelhead fish? Do you ever do any steelhead fishing?
Yeah, I will do it in a little bit when the fish actually get into the river. Right now, because there's not a lot of ice out on the main lake, they're not really coming up into the rivers like they usually do.
Yeah, I think the flyway has changed. I think Missouri's pulling a lot of ducks since the last 10 years or so. They started doing the rice fields, and a lot more they've pulled off the ducks.
Hey, Jag Fishing's in the house. Jag, you missed a great show on first thing in the morning. You should have been here at 10, man.
Yep, Jag, you missed out on Aaron from Gumpa's Honey Hole Custom Rods. He taught us all about custom rod making and
taught us more about fishing rods too.
Right.
After you learn stuff like that, you never look at a fishing rod the same again.
Right.
Now we're getting, hey, Jag, you want to come up on panel? Tell us what you have going on your channel. Or you can call in, Jag. It's up to you. Yeah, we're talking about fishing rods, Jag. Yeah, I don't have the fish around me today. Oh, man, that's too bad you're having a bad day, man.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Hope it gets better for you.
Yeah, I know. Some days are just horrible.
Yeah. Every day's a good day. Some days are just better than others.
Oh, yeah, it's one of those days today, and have to tear the house apart. You have to find something Andrew took off for us. It's gonna be fun. How about Lacey? Lacey hasn't been up here in a long time. Yeah, our numbers were a lot better today, actually, Grant.
Yeah, we had a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I agree with you, Cast. And do a lot of research too for these guests coming up.
Right.
Really work hard on it. This year has been the slowest in the Atlantic Flyway. I think it's been because it's been so warm up north. It's not pushing the ducks like it usually does. Hey, Up North Outdoors, how you doing?
Yeah, somebody somewhere, they've got to be wearing them out because I don't know. It's been unusual for sure.
Oh, yeah. I know the duck population hasn't went down because they're all over the place up here. Yeah, I had a lot of problems with my OBS last night.
Yeah, I was working on my video I posted last night. I was listening to you. I never did comment or nothing.
Oh, I was having problems with OBS. OBS was driving me nuts. Dropped my sound. It dropped everything.
Yeah, Yank Your Crank. Pure Living for Outdoors. He's in Oklahoma. I know he had a good duck season.
Yeah.
He was saying they extended their duck season.
Wow. I wonder where all the ducks are. I know the other day when me and the wife were eating, there were like 100 ducks in now in Lake Huron. I bet they're still here. It's just now, we have just now had a probably really good hard freeze time here. Oh, Poet Makers, I made it myself. It cost me I think it cost less than $10 for that green screen.
It's not bad.
Yeah, Yank Your Crank was our very first guest ever on this show. And I think we're getting better with every guest.
Yep, it makes the show go by a lot quicker when we've got a guest that's informative, and I've definitely learned
Quite a bit.
Good
morning, Raven.
Good morning.
Great. If you want to call in, just call in, guys. The number's on the screen.
Grim Raven, you missed the first hour. We had Aaron from Gumpa's Honey Hole Custom Rods. Taught us a lot about custom rods and rods in general.
Yeah, and I tried to add, my questions were kind of leading towards the general because I know a lot of us don't use those the more expensive ones, and I want everyone to get stuff. And I put in a lot more tags today too, Grant. Thanks for showing me how to use that too, buddy.
Oh yeah.
And I put a hashtag in there for you too.
I seen that. Phil Am Life in USA channel. Hello, good morning. Yeah, I noticed a few new people in the chat today. I don't know if it was from the tags or from him tweeting it out.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's from him tweeting it out.
The Walmart specials. Well, whatever you can do.
Yeah. Just go back and watch it. You might learn something. You'll learn a lot about your rods that you didn't know before.
Flying Jersey, what's up? Yeah, I wasn't really aware of the top heavy and bottom heavy.
Yeah. How about the spine?
Or the spine.
Never thought about that, have you?
No.
Think about how much more water you could cover. It was it? No, 20 feet roughly on a cast. That's crazy, isn't it?
It is. Yank your crank one of these days, you'll be able to.
Yeah, but that's like I was saying. I see it all the time. People having those $200-$300 rods, and they put them on a $40 Walmart special. It's almost better off if you're going to do that to put a $20 Walmart special reel on a $200 rod.
Yeah, the 20 feet was the extra distance on your cast with the custom rod.
Yeah, that's just because it's spined right.
Sounds like Grim Raven's more into drinking beer than catching fish.
Oh, yeah. A lot of us are, though. Extra distance. Extra distance.
Yeah. And he was also saying it depends on your line. 10-pound line versus 20-pound line. You're going to be able to cast further also.
Because of the diameter of the line. And it also depends on the types. I'm trying to get one of the line manufacturers up here to talk about lines.
That would be cool.
A lot of the major companies, they want a larger audience. So as we continue to grow our audience, it's going to get a lot better.
Right. Have a great day, Backstrap Brotherhood Outdoors.
Oh, it's absolutely awesome, Yankee Crank. But there are cheaper custom rod builders out there, guys.
Right. I mean, you've got to consider the amount of time and effort somebody puts into something is going to cost you more.
Yeah. And your knowledge base, too. I mean, he's only doing like 8 rods a month. So he'll be the one and only of that one, and he doesn't do a mass production.
Right.
Every rod is a work of art.
Definitely. Yeah, you definitely gotta take that in consideration. Somebody putting their time into it where they could be out fishing or doing something else.
Yeah, they aren't easy to make. They aren't easy at all. And Allen Outdoors uses express rods. Hey, Allen Outdoors, would you like to come up on panel?
Precision Angling says he builds rods and they're not easy.
Yeah. Hey, welcome, Walker Outdoors. And remember, guys, if you guys didn't hit that first hour of the video, make sure you go back and watch it. You guys will learn a lot.
Yeah, I mean, anybody putting their time in to doing something.
It's just like having custom crankbaits and stuff. Custom crankbaits are going to cost you a lot more than you can go buy a shelf one too, and they're going to run different. They actually run true. Monkey Slap, welcome. If you're new here, please hit that red button underneath our names and check out the rest of these channels. So who wants a channel review? We haven't done a channel review in a while, and Grant's going to give a number. When you put that number in, the first one will get a channel review. Hey, Grant, you need to give a number. Okay, first one to put a 5 in. We'll get a channel review. Oh, Precision Angling. We're going to go look at Precision Angling's channel. Uh-oh, it looks good. Boom. So me and Grant are going to look at your channel. We'll see what's going on here. I wish I could look at this on a cell phone. Hey, Precision Angling for the lettering on there. I think dark blue would make that stand out better with that bright sun there. I think it's kind of fading away on your lettering. How about you, Grant?
Yeah, it would give it a better, more of a pop, a different color than white.
Yeah, with that white there, it's kind of bleeding through and it's hard to read. I'm thinking also if you had a cell phone, I think it'd be really hard to read, actually. But it's a great looking banner.
Yes. Yeah, I like it.
I like it too. I've done a review on him before, so. Great playlist on here. Awesome. Popular uploads. Absolutely awesome. Look at that. 6.6 thousand views on episode 62. That's crazy. Fire on the Ice. Look at this. This is absolutely awesome. That was from yesterday, guys. So let's look at his videos. Once again, you have some videos here that don't have those custom thumbnails. Make sure you put custom thumbnails on it. It increases your views by about 65%, or by about 35% if it's showing up in the people's suggested videos. Let's see here. He has a lot of playlists. Doesn't have any community. Look at all those channels. Wait a minute, did he like the video today? Oh, yeah. Let's check his about section. Okay, in the about section, try to break that up. That's kind of intimidating for readers nowadays. They like to break it up, find places to break it up. I see you have a lot of cool keywords there, but try to break it up just a little bit more. Maybe after fishing there, put a space in there, break it up there, and maybe after the fishing season, putting that space in there, that will break it up. Any suggestions, Grant?
Yeah, definitely make it at least 2 paragraphs. You could possibly make that into 3.
Yeah. So let's go back and we're going to do something new. We're going to take a look at his last video. I'm going to pause it there. Where's my TubeBuddy at? There's my TubeBuddy. And here is all of his tags. Lots and lots of tags here. That is awesome. Okay, so great tags in here. That's cool. His channel has had 59.6 thousand views. He has 1.19K. So he has 2 mentions of this video on Twitter and 71 likes on it on Facebook. So he's using his other social media is great. So that's absolutely awesome.
Yep. The best practices. Do you see that?
Oh, I missed it. I already closed out.
Okay.
Oh, we got 22 in here. Oh, the jersey, the flying jersey says, Nightbot, Nightbot, you need to start helping others too. Needy. Hey, Nightbot's basically me, though. But that's what I would do for Precision Angling. But if you could just put, I don't know, Precision Angling, if I remember, likes blue. I think that blue, and especially if you can put some lining on there, really make it pop out, make it look 3-dimensional.
Ralph Barton said, "I've never seen that screen. How'd you do that?"
Which one?
I'm not sure which screen.
What's green on, Ralph?
If it fits, it bakes. How's it going? If you just now joining, Crash Bandy K. If it fits, it bakes. We had Aaron from Gumpa's Honey Hole Custom Rods for the first hour of the show this morning. And we learned a lot about custom rods and fishing rods in general. Be sure to go check that out. Ralph, that is Tube Buddy. TUBEBUDDY. It's definitely an app that you need to get. It's we've got the free version where you can see all of that. They do have a paid version where you get a few more options. Definitely a helpful tool, especially for your tags. You can make lists and then not have to do your tags every time. For similar videos, you can just import your list.
Oh, okay. Video IQ is another free app that you should get. I don't know what Video IQ is, Grant.
I have that wrote down, but I have not checked it out yet.
Yeah, I need to check that out. I don't even know what Video IQ is.
Ralph, you can do it for both.
Have a good one, Poet Maker. Who's the other guy? What other guy? It's me and Grant McIntosh. The outdoorsman. Okay. So if someone wants to come up here, you guys are more than welcome to come up. And
all right, Precision Angling, have a good day. Chromecast, have a good day.
Well, we're getting lots of new people in here. So if you're new here, make sure you go in and check out the first hour. Absolutely great. I can't believe the kind of information he gave us today, guys. What a great guest.
Flow Rider Hillbilly, good morning.
Good morning, Flow Rider Hillbilly. And the phone is open, guys. You guys want to call in, call in. 24 people watching, Grant.
Yeah, we've had around 20 all morning.
I know. But my record is, 48 or something like that at one time in here? And make sure you're still hitting that thumbs up. I'm just still help. You guys just can't see it. The Flying Jersey. Give me a wrench, please. Do you know the Flying Jersey very well, Grant?
He's been in and out.
We've been having problems with people hiding people on our channels. You give it to the wrong person. I know the Flying Jersey. I've seen a lot of his videos. I'll give him his wrench for once. Okay, the Flying Jersey, you have the moderator now. Don't abuse it because I will yank it fast.
Getting the total checkup at the doctor. Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Oh, that doesn't sound like fun at all. How do you like the ones that need it?
Yes, Ralph. It does.
Oh, yeah, it does a lot of stuff for you. And I got to check out this Video IQ. I don't know. I can almost grab that tree.
Bet there's a bass or two right under it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there is. I wonder how deep the water is there. I guess I can make up something. I had a fish on here yesterday. I was sitting underneath that tree. Swag Control Month.
We get a few in and out. I know Joy took care of one a while ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just trying to pick the right people to be moderators. And The Flying Jersey's been in here a few times. I've kind of gotten to know him. Jump in. I wish I could.
Looks nice and warm.
Oh, yeah. So if you guys want to call in, the number's up here. Call in. Don't be shy. We have a phone number up here for people can call in, or you can put email in, and I'll bring you up onto the panel. UK moderator.
Coach's skirt.
He's skirt. Yeah, we only have 7 minutes left of the show today, guys, and we're going to go raid someone at the end of this. So I'll go pick someone to raid in like 5 minutes. Oh, the coaching guy says he wish he could call, but he's at work. It's freezing here. Yeah, it's pretty cold here too, I'm sure. Raid on bro raid. Yeah, usually Grant picks someone. I like grading people I don't know. Then it comes out of nowhere.
Right. So Ralph's got a question. What prompted you to start it with YouTube?
What prompted me to start with YouTube? I was actually thinking about doing this channel for over 2 years. And I actually went through and I figured out exactly what I wanted my morning show to look like. And it's pretty close to what I wanted it to look like right now. How about you, Grant?
Well, I think it's a great way to keep a track of your memories. And I've had so many experiences, hunts or fishing, that I thought, man, I wish I had that on video. So,
hey, Jersey, don't whack my night bot.
being outdoors.
You guys, one of the moderators putting in all my links.
Good morning, being outdoors.
Good morning. Being outdoors would love the first part of the show. Make sure you watch that first hour.
So I just started. I got a GoPro, and I've got some good memories on camera. Definitely. I'm gonna try to start making some better quality videos for fishing and getting different angles and some underwater and stuff like that. I got a couple new cameras, so.
Whoa. I almost put you in timeout, man.
Mallard 5 Farmhouse, good morning.
Good morning, Mallard 5 Farmhouse. Okay, I'm gonna go see if I can find someone to raid. Hey, you see anyone good on your side, Grant?
Can I see what now?
Anyone good to raid that we haven't raided before?
6 figures a year from home. Yeah, the Flying Jersey. That's haven't caught my personal best fish on camera yet, but my wife has 3 or 4 times.
And if you don't see anyone interesting, we'll have Serving for My Home pick who we raid. Remember, it has to be someone we've never raided before.
Now the Canadian Drone Hub is the only person I've got that's live.
Okay, can you drop this link? We're gonna raid the Canadian Drone Hide with hashtag Kohl Raiders.
Fernando Fishing, Florida. Good morning.
Good morning, man. Thanks. So we're about to end for the day. We're gonna go raid the Canadian Drone. Oh, Grant.
You ready?
Oh, we're ready.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining us. If you missed the first hour of the show, make sure you go check it out. We had Aaron from Gumpa's Honey Hole Custom Rods. Learned a lot about rods and custom rods. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 Eastern.
And thanks for coming, guys. And here comes the link. Please go and rate them and put in hashtag Kohl Raiders.
We're going to Canadian Drone Hub.
Is this the right one?